Welcome to the Connected Spirit Podcast, a space where the mystical and the human experience merge, where we explore what it really means to walk a spirit-led path. I'm Courtney Dawson, an ethical medium and mentor, and for as long as I can remember, I have felt the presence of the spirit world. But my journey hasn't been simple. It's been one of self-discovery, healing from religious and emotional trauma, navigating fear, judgment, and the loneliness that comes with embracing something the world doesn't always understand. This podcast is here to take what was once considered woo and bring it into the real lived experience of being human. Because mediumship isn't just something we do, it's who we are. Here we dive into the conversations no one else is having, breaking down misconceptions, exploring the unseen, and normalizing the journey of deep connection. We'll talk about the beauty and the struggle of being a medium. We'll laugh, we'll reflect, we'll go deep. And most importantly, we'll remember who we are, why we're here, and how spirit moves through us all. So if you've ever felt something more, if you've ever questioned the unseen, or if you're simply ready to embrace the fullness of your spiritual path, you're in the right place. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the show. This week, I'm going to be interviewing upcoming ethical evidential psychic medium, Jess Walton. She's going to share a little bit about her journey of mediumship development and what has completely changed for her since she joined the Mediumship Mastery Circle. This is an episode that is not only going to inspire you as a medium, but empower you along your path. So without further ado, let's get into this conversation. I'm so excited to have you here, Jess. Welcome. I am so honored to celebrate you. You are an amazing medium. You're an amazing woman, an incredible student, and you've been working with me for some time and have had such incredible results being in this space, being in my world, and I would love for you to share your story with those that are going to listen to this, whether it's on the podcast, socials, stuff like that. So let's go back a little bit. How long had you been developing mediumship before you came into my world?
It was about a couple of years, doing some inner work and then working on the mediumship because I was having some mediumship naturally come up at that time. But I felt like I was really struggling with trying to make a connection on purpose. I could just not figure it out on my own.
And that's not easy for mediums because when we're having those experiences, it's like it's happening to us, but we don't have any control over that. And that can cause like so many mixed feelings. So when you were like, I can't do this on purpose, like what was coming up for you with that? Was it like, what was your experience? What emotions were you going through? Because you and I had talked in the DMs before when you found me, and there was definitely some struggles. So I'm wondering if you're comfortable with maybe sharing a little bit about that.
Of course. Definitely struggle, frustration, because I knew I could do this. I just didn't know how to get to that point. So I knew that I needed help in getting there.
Had you had any kind of like previous training or experience? What kind of things had you tried before that just weren't giving you any results?
I took a few little mini psychic and mediumship development classes, and they were nice, but I felt like I really needed a circle for that support and to also learn and build along with people who are on the same path as me.
So important. So you have been sitting in circle with me for 5 months. What kind of shifts are you noticing within yourself since you've been in this space?
Oh, definitely more self-confidence. The excitement, I still get nervous, but definitely the excitement of being able to do this, being able to do this work and seeing the progress that I have made.
What have you noticed specifically as like far as the types of evidence that you're bringing through, the accuracy, the flow of the power? Like, what is that looking like in your mediumship? And you're like, oh my goodness, I can do this. So I would love to hear, how are you feeling about the accuracy of your mediumship readings and the type of evidence that you're bringing through? Because as your mentor, I have noticed and I've watched, but being in your own shoes and witnessing it, you have a different lens. So I'm curious if you could like maybe share with me, what are you noticing specifically?
I'm definitely noticing the shifts in energy a lot more and a lot easier. Um, my accuracy has gotten quite a bit better. I've been able to bring through specific evidence that somebody has always wanted to hear from spirit. So spirit has brought that through, and it really was a profound moment for both of us.
But I
Mhm,
remember there was this one circle, Jess, and you had, and I believe it was like a pink rose. And there
Mhm.
was the pink rose, but then you felt into it, and there was all of this information that came from that symbol the spirit brought through to you through your mediumship. And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, something has just shifted and clicked. But then to watch you as the student go, I did it.
Yes,
Got it. It's coming together. It's so powerful, right?
it was incredible. Yep.
Yeah. And you're having more of those moments, which is absolutely incredible. Now, you had shared with me you were doing a reading for somebody. And what happened was you brought through a communicator that they were really looking to hear from. Could you share a little bit about the response you got from your recipient?
The response was pretty overwhelming. There was unanswered questions that she had had with this person, and something that they always wanted to hear from this spirit. And in the reading, spirit was able to bring through these exact words that they had always wanted to hear.
Isn't that amazing? And people go, how can you do that? But you can if you allow yourself to surrender and blend with the power of the spirit. Now, when you and I were talking before, you had said one of the big things that you've learned in our time together, you being in the circle, is that surrender. For you and your mediumship, what does that look like? What does that mean? If somebody's listening and they're like, what does that surrender look like? How has that showed up for you?
The surrender really is stepping out of your own way, honestly.
Yeah,
It's knowing that once you step out of your own way, spirit has you. They got you. They want you to succeed. It's just getting out of your own way.
absolutely. Because we can have a tendency to want to decide what comes through as far as evidence and how that comes through. But they're like, hey, we know best.
Mhm.
And that is not an easy skill. Surrender is actually a skill, and it's not easy for people to develop. And yet, you've been able to really master that in the 5 months so far working together. That is incredible. I'd love to hear about what's your favorite part about being in the circle.
I love all the support um, that we all receive in the circle. We all celebrate our wins together, our progress, but we also are able to be vulnerable with each other. And if we're struggling and we just say, "Hey, I'm nervous, I'm struggling with this," we could all be there and say, "You know what? I struggle with that too. You're not alone."
It's so important. How do you find having that support has changed your mediumship development? Because before you didn't have that, and that was something you're really longing for. How has that actually shifted and amplified your mediumship?
I think it shifted it a lot because I feel like I'm working with other people on this same path. And so we're supporting each other in that way. And it just really helped with building confidence.
Absolutely, especially when you know there's not that judgment coming from other people, like, oh, you got it wrong. It's like we understand that it's a learning environment. And part of the getting it wrong is actually so important because it helps us understand what went maybe sideways and how we can actually learn from that. And you will do far more learning by the no's than you will from getting the yeses. So I love that quality of energy that the other mediums give to one another. It is so foundational in being able to build that confidence, like you said, but also when there's moments where you're learning and feeling less confident, perhaps in a certain area, you're like, but they've got my back. Not only spirit, but these incredible mediums have my back. I can keep doing this. It is absolutely amazing. What has actually shocked you or surprised you about your own mediumship? You're like, oh my God.
That once I do step out of my own way, the power is incredible. The power from spirit.
How are they supporting you in your mediumship? Like when you say that and you're connecting, you're blending, you're channeling, how is that support showing up in your mediumship?
Yeah, I could feel spirit around me. I could physically feel spirit letting me know that they're around before the reading. And so that gives me some comfort that, okay, it's time to kick on and work. We got you.
Isn't it incredible? I love that for you. It's so exciting because you realize it's not just you, that the spirit world is such an integral part of your development and that you guys are actually partners. It's like, they got my back. I can do this. How has being in the circle really supported you in ways that other training, like some of those workshops you took, haven't?
I think your support and your style of teaching has been a game changer. It is definitely different than other things that I've tried. And you really genuinely support all of your students. And you're incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, every medium has their different style of teaching. Have you had other medium teachers, mediumship coaches, tune into you energetically when you're working to help you dial in where you're at and what is going on and how to course correct? Have you had that?
No. And that's what's really different about your style of teaching and what changed everything for me.
It's so important, and it is unlike anything else that is being offered in the circles. And I think that is why, I know that is why mediums like you are able to have such success in such a short amount of time, because that is an advantage that you have over other mediums. And the proof is in the results that you have, because I've watched you go from feeling insecure, doubtful, to joyful and excited and so confident. There's just this assurance about you, Jess, like you know what you're getting from the spirit world with just such conviction. You know that. And so the delivery has also improved as well, where there's flow, there's not gaps of time in between the evidence, and you're not having that pressure on yourself anymore to be perfect, because you realize, and I've seen this and it's incredible, there's really a naturalness to the communication, and you do it so well, and most importantly, ethically.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say to somebody who is thinking about joining the circle? What would you say to them?
Stop thinking about it. Just do it. It's going to change your life. If this is something that you want to do and you want to work with spirit, this is a game changer.
I love that. I love everything that you've shared, Jess. Is there anything that you maybe want to add about your experience that we didn't touch on?
Very grateful.
The Connected Spirit isn't just a podcast, it's a remembering of who we are, a remembering of our connection to spirit, and a remembering that we are never walking this path alone. Mediumship isn't just about speaking with spirits. It's about deepening the connection to our own spirit, to one another, and to the energy that moves through everything. So as you leave this space, ask yourself, what part of this conversation stirred something within you? What connection is spirit inviting you to strengthen? If this episode spoke to you, please share it, leave a review, and connect with me on Instagram at Medium Courtney Dawson, or visit my website at mediumcourtneydawson.com. Your presence in this community matters, because connection isn't just about what we seek, it's what we are. Until next time, trust your spirit, trust the unseen world, and trust that you are always, always connected.